Hello and welcome once again to Red Gaming Tech. My name is Marta. Today is the 17th of January and I have some news for you today from Nintendo as they have released some sales figures and have radically reduced their global Wii U sales forecast for the business year by almost 70%, and they have put it down from the original figure, which was 9 million, down to 2.8 million, so that's quite a reduction, as I said, almost 70%. And they have put their 3DS sales forecast from 13.5 million units from 18 million units. So it was 18 and they have now put it down to 13.5. Now, while that's a pretty hefty reduction, the 3DS rather has actually been doing pretty damn well. So I don't know, maybe it hasn't been doing as well as I hoped, but it has been doing a ton better than the Wii U and was actually the best selling console in the end of last year. So perhaps that was undeserved for the 3DS. However, Nintendo has warned that it will make a full-year operating loss of around 35 billion yen, which is about $336 million, and this is due to weaker than expected sales of the Wii U and 3DS. As I said previously, they do expect to now only sell 2.8 million Wii U's during the fiscal year, and that's of course down from those original targets. Now, software projections have also been revised, down from 38 million Wii U games to 19 million, and 66 million 3DS games rather than the original figure, which was 80 million. Now, they had originally expected to make a profit of 100 billion yen, which is about 958.2 million. Now, they are predicting a net loss of 25 billion yen, which is $239.5 million, rather than a net profit of 55 billion yen, which is about $527 million. And net sales of 590 billion yen, which is about $5.6 billion, instead of the previous forecast of 920 billion yen, which is about 8.8 billion. So, putting that in layman's terms, they have radically reduced their sales forecast for the Wii U and 3DS, and have not only done that, they have, instead of making quite a bit of profit, they are expecting to make a net loss rather than their original prediction of a net profit, and their net sales figures have also been reduced in terms of the software projections. Now, they did have an official statement regarding this, which they said, quote, giving a detailed explanation on our sales performance in and leading up to the year-end sales by platform, Nintendo 3DS continued to show strong sales in the Japanese market. The unit sales for Nintendo 3DS in the previous calendar year amounted to approximately 4.9 million units, falling short of our aim of 5 million units by a small margin. However, as I explained before, given that every gaming device from the year 2000 onwards, apart from the Nintendo DS and 3DS, did not reach sales of 4 million units even in their peak years, we can say that the sales figure for the 3DS in the last calendar year was indeed very high. However, outside of Japan, while its market share increased as we continued to release compelling titles throughout the year, Nintendo 3DS did not reach our sales targets in the overseas markets, and we were ultimately unable to achieve our goal of providing a massive sales boost to Nintendo 3DS in the year-end sales season. Using the US market as an example, Nintendo 3DS became the top-selling platform in the last calendar year, according to MPD, an independent market research company, with its cumulative sales exceeding 11.5 million units. However, the estimated annual sales of the Nintendo 3DS hardware remained significantly lower than our initial forecast at the beginning of the fiscal year. In Europe, while the individual markets showed different results, France was the only market in which we experienced relatively strong sales, and we failed to attain our initial sales levels by a large margin in other countries. Wii U sales, on the other hand, showed some progress in the year-end sales season as we released various compelling titles from the summer onwards, launched hardware bundles at affordable price points, and also performed a markdown of the hardware in the US and European markets. However, they fell short of our targeted recovery by a large margin. In particular, sales in the US and European markets, in which we entered the year-end sales season with a hardware markdown, were significantly lower than our original forecast, with both hardware and software sales experiencing a huge gap from their targets. In addition, we did not assume at the beginning of the fiscal year that we would perform a markdown for the Wii U hardware in the US and European markets. This was also one of the reasons for the lower sales and profit estimates. Now, to be honest, I think they might have had a bit too high expectations with the 3DS, because when your handheld console has cumulative sales exceeding 11.5 million units and was the top selling platform in the last calendar year. And let me just, of course, remind you that it was competing against the PS4 and the Xbox One and managed to beat both of them rather handily as well. Not just like, oh, I beat them by 1 million or whatever. It beat them by several million sales. So I would maybe say to Nintendo, hey, look, you won the hardware race. You won it against new next generation consoles, heavy hitters from Sony and Microsoft. Your 3DS handheld console, which has been out for a couple of years now, can't remember exactly how long, beat those consoles. It was the best selling console. It even beat the previous generation, which of course has a much more installed user base. So perhaps your expectations were just a smidge too high. But I don't know. I'm not a business person. I can't really say, but it does seem to me that maybe their expectations were a little too high on that front. For those of you wondering, Nintendo President Satoru Iwata has played down rumours that they'll be shaking up their management following this financial report, and they said there will not be any major management shake-up in the short term. Now, that doesn't, of course, discount the long term that some high-up people could find themselves in a spot of hot water, but at least in the short term there will not be any major changes, rather. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that Nintendo were expecting a bit much of the 3DS? Now, I don't think anyone is surprised by the lackluster sales of the Wii U, but I think maybe their expectations were a smidge too high for the 3DS, considering the points that I've already raised. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.